You know, I realised something the other day. I'm not as far behind this anime season as I thought I was. I normally fall about a week behind by this point of my anime previews, but I'm only about 3 days behind as I'm recording this today on Monday. It's just that the animes come in such a big burst, it just feels like I'm being overwhelmed because, let's be frank, I am being overwhelmed. Overwhelmed with some good shows and some bad shows, and I'll let you know what I think of today's shows as well today. And let me know in the comments what you think of the anime shows. So join me, because this is a 2023 winter anime preview from a different perspective. First up today, we have The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, Northern War. An anime which is a spin-off of a video game of which I'm currently playing actively, not exactly right now, but on my YouTube channel, and I have been doing for the last few years. I mean, seriously, if you want to enjoy me playing Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, check the YouTube channel you're on right now. I'm actually going to put a link to my Series 1 of that in the bumper up the end of the video, so be sure to check that out as well. But this is talking about the anime, and the anime is not the first game. In fact, the anime is not the second game. The anime is a spin-off which takes place between the second game and third game. Because Northern War, as I'm going to call it, is an anime about a girl called Lavian. She's a Jaeger in the northern territories of Zamoria, who is fighting off monsters in the snow. Northumbria is not a place I'm familiar with from the games. It's been brought up in a few occasions, most notably when we learn about the church's activities there in Trails of the Sky 3rd chapter. But I've never actually been there. I've only seen pictures of the ice towers, which I mentioned in this first episode as well. And I don't know the political situation of the area either, because one thing you need to know about the Legend of Heroes series, it's a very politically minded game. It's based around conflicts and wars. The first games of the Legend of Heroes series I've played, Legend of Heroes Trails from the Sky, which also had an anime which I've not seen, was based around Liberl and the Liberlian coup and fights against a militant organisation and their Jaegers. Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel takes us away from Liberl into Zamoria, which is a much more militantly minded area. It's called Trails of Cold Steel because the entire country is dotted by train lines going everywhere. It's cold steel because it's what the country is built on. Steel. Engineering. It's basically Great Britain during the Industrial Revolution, only with magic and airships as well. But airships are too expensive, technology is not quite there yet, and not good for passengers, although Liberl got away with it because Liberl's a technologically advanced area. In the game, you're in a military school learning to be a member of the army and the forces. Well, in Trails of Cold Steel Northern War, we're seeing some of the effects of that war and that conflict, which happens in the first two games, only from a side of, I'm not going to say the other side, because you don't fight Northumbria in the games, not the two I've played yet so far. I don't know what the third and fourth games are going to bring, because that's a completely different story from what I've learnt. But I've not dug too deep into the lore behind this one, because this one takes place after the second game. I've not yet finished the second game. If I watch all of this in one go, there will be spoilers. So I'm going to tell you what I think about it from a perspective of someone who is only really reasonably knowledgeable about the world, not the current situation, but someone with experience of the franchise. And Northern War doesn't appear too interesting initially. The first episode is very much slow, introduce you to a few characters and the area they're in. There's no real action or there's plenty of action, but no real storyline action, no real activity for main character other than fighting off some monsters. And the plot is only really hinted at the very end. I will be watching more of this myself. I'm invested in the Legend of Heroes series at this point, but I won't be watching it immediately. I'm actually going to be putting this to the back burner. I'm going to be remembering the episodes are there, and then once I finish the second game, I'm going to marathon as much as I can before I start the third game. Well, let's be honest, I'm probably going to start the third game the moment the second game finishes, but we'll see how that goes with recording times or that. I actually want to start doing this and record that now as well, actually, because I do like Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel's game. This isn't going to be an anime for everyone. It doesn't require in-depth knowledge of the universe and the world and the franchise. It helps. In my case, it's hindering because I know I'm not to this point of the story yet, but it's not required. But you are going to miss out on a lot of the nuances of the world and the well-being and just why these people are fighting in the first place. I honestly can't recommend it for everyone. If you're a fan of the Legend of Heroes series, if you like war anime, maybe give it a try. If you like just action anime, maybe don't, because this one's potentially going to be a much slower series. If you are interested in watching the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel Northern War, this one's airing over at Crunchyroll. Next up today, we've got Giant Beasts of Ars, or as I've been wanting to call it every time I read it, the Giant Beasts of Ars. An anime about giant monsters attacking rundown settlements and being fought off by loads of people, loads of fighters, look like mercenaries, with ineffective weapons before a guy with superpowers fights them off and kills them. This feels very generic to me. It's well presented, I'm going to give them that for certain. But there's nothing outstanding about this show. Our main character, well, I'm not quite sure which one is our main character. There's two which it could be. There's Jiro, the generic swordsman, who calls himself Jiro the Already Dead. Perhaps there's an extra from Fist of a North Star. And we've got Kumi, a girl escaping from a prison for some reason, with superpowers. Apparently some kind of test creation of some kind of powerful beat. Look, at the end of the anime, they call Jiro a paladin and Kumi a cleric. So I'm assuming there's some kind of connection there. I'm assuming the woman at the very start of the anime, which took place in the past, who's fighting with someone, possibly Jiro, couldn't tell you, is also a cleric. And they're the ones who give the paladins their superpowers. That's my feeling about the first episode. And perhaps Kumi is a creation the army's made to try and replicate that success. Only they couldn't get it working, and somehow a ring she got from a cute cat girl in a market managed to get it working for them. The first episode was, I'm not going to say hard to follow, because it was actually relatively easy to follow. What was going on was quite clearly what was going on, but what impact that has on anything going on in the world, I've no idea. The army want to chase down Kumi, who's escaped. Jiro is just a laid-back guy. Mia just seems interested in whatever's going on, an interested cat girl. And Kumi just wants to be free and run away from the army guys. There's a weird bit towards the middle of the episode where we get to see a weird other kingdom with a couple of other people, possibly another paladin and cleric, who knows, potentially attacking somebody else. That is left completely up in the air. I'll be honest, this show feels like it's a show from the 90s and early noughties. It is designed to look that way, but the way it's presented itself and the way the story tells itself is also of that nature. Hints to what's going on in the background with nothing else going told at the same time. Cutaways to the bad guys. Tell you their thievish plan. I'm not sure I can recommend this one. It was well presented, I will give it that. That's the only thing it's got going for it. If you are interested in watching Giant Beasts of Ars, you can find it airing over at High Dive. Next up today, we've got an anime which, I'll be honest, going into the series, this one looked like one of the anime I'd be throwing away quite quickly. Welcome to the world of Buddy Daddies. What looked like a cop drama 2-team double act. Only this time I've got a kid, and oh how zany it is. Got these two normal guys looking after a kid. A kid's getting in their way, causing all manner of trouble and the hijinks she causes. Oh, what fun. It looks like it could be a 90s sitcom from America. Our main two guys, Ray and Kazuki, are polar opposites. Ray is a gloomy, shut-in video game addict, whereas Kazuki is a womanizing hothead, but is all about being serious and responsible with his life. Apparently he had a girlfriend or wife who had a kid ages ago, and rather than spending his money he gets from his jobs himself, he sends it back to her, even though she left him and doesn't want anything to do with him. In fact, she's not even accepting the money. But in this first anime, one thing I liked about it, first of all, is there's a lot of attention to detail in this. The anime starts with a car chase. Well, a bike chase. Bike chasing a car. You know the typical things you get in these cop dramas, where a bike is chasing a car, shooting it all the time. But what got me was, again, the attention to detail. They use stingers. The spike strips just go across the road. And whilst it is a bit dramatic, the car drives over it too fast and flips, there's no explosions. It bursts with tyre and the tyre causes the car to spin out. I mean, it shouldn't have really caused it to spin and flip, but spin, yes, it probably would have done that. But it's no explosions or sparks, it's just tyres burst and it spins. And as the chase goes on, yes, there's guns firing, there's drama, but none of the action seems impossible. Spectacular, improbable, and impractical, yes. Impossible? No. It looks like a type of action you would see in an American live-action buddy cop series. Although, again, the stunt with a bike jumping down off the upper highway to the lower highway, again, spectacular and unlikely. But they were doing things like that in Dukes of Hazzard, so why not? Now, it's on the second job where the real problems start lying, because in between the two jobs, we learn that Ray's tried to adopt a cat and gets told, oh no, you can't have a cat, you can't even take care of yourself. Meanwhile, Kazuki is prepping for the next job, where they're trying to take down a crime lord by posing as a delivery guy delivering a cake to the very, very loud and annoying mistress of the crime boss. And then a kid gets him away. A kid, of course, seeing a guy dressed as Santa with a cake, of course, she's enamoured by him. She wants to see her dad, and she asks Santa if she can see her dad, and just trying to get her away from it. He says, "Yeah, I'll get your dad, but let me do this first." Unfortunately, this is on the lift on the way up to fight the crime boss, and the kid spoils the surprise. The kid runs in. The bad guys see the kid, get her suspicious. Guns start firing. Everybody panics and runs away. Thankfully, in the end, the crime boss is defeated. The gloomy guy Ray jumps out the window and abseils to his safety, whilst Kazuki and the kid Miri manage to make their way to safety, no longer in Santa suit, now dressed as one of the criminals and one of the people of the party, trying to run to safety. But we're led to believe that Miri is going to become a key person in Kazuki and Ray's life. They're going to care for Miri as though they're their kids. And I think that's an interesting dynamic. Like I say, at the start of the season, I was willing to dismiss Buddy Daddies for being overly stylised buddy cop drama, only with them being fathers, and doting fathers at that. But I'm probably going to give Buddy Daddies another shot. And I'll be honest, the characters intrigue me. I might give this one another shot. If you're interested in watching Buddy Daddies, despite the fact the logo looks like it could be a Milton Bradley game, it's an interesting show airing on Crunchyroll. Finally today, we have an anime with one of the more nonsensical titles of the season. Endo and Kobayashi Live, the latest on Tsundere Villainess Lieselotte. Now, if you read that title, you don't know whether or not it's about Endo and Kobayashi living or being live, but having watched the episode, it's definitely live, not live, as they are two members of the broadcast club in their school. Now, it's the premise of this anime which really threw me for a loop having watched the first episode, and I still can't fully explain it in few words. So, I'll explain. Lieselotte is an anime about a villainess in a dating. Again, we're back to that same trope we've been seeing in the last 2 or 3 years. It's everywhere these days. But this one is a very different show. It's not about being reincarnated as a villainess or being a villainess trying to survive. This is actually about two characters playing the game, Endo and Kobayashi. Endo being a guy who's attracted to Kobayashi, and Kobayashi being a huge fangirl for a certain game. Now, Lieselotte is a character in that game. She's the villainess character. She's not the main character, she's not the heroine, she's not one of the heroes. This, of course, being a villainess, it's an Ultimate game. But as part of their broadcasting club activities, they start narrating and commentating the game. Unfortunately, one thing which weirdly happens is because Kobayashi is such a huge fan of Lieselotte, her enthusiasm for a character leaks into the game. Suddenly the Prince, Sieg, hears their commentary and the voice of the gods has told him that Lieselotte is cute. And to her credit, Lieselotte is cute. She's a Tsundere Villainess. She comes across as prickly. That's because she can't show how much she loves anyone. She doesn't just love them, she loves them. And that side of her is something which they never really see in the game because they don't know what a Tsundere is. And so this is going to be an anime about an anime game progressing and Kobayashi and Endo trying to subtly nudge Sieg into a position where he doesn't dump Lieselotte, which causes Lieselotte to go down her path of doom in the game. It's an interesting concept. It's a different take of the whole otome game reincarnation Villainess saga we've been getting recently with anime. Lieselotte is cute. She is a Tsundere Villainess. Endo and Kobayashi are definitely live. They're just chatting about a game as they're, I would say, playing it or watching it more so than anything else. And where this one goes, I've frankly no idea. It's as batshit insane as I expected it to be. Probably more so because I didn't expect the premise to be this weird. But it's a show I'll definitely be watching more of. If you are interested in watching this, you can find it airing over at High Dive. So that was Legendary Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, Northern War, Giant Beasts of Ars, Bloody Daddies, and Endo and Kobayashi Live, the latest on Tsundere Villainess Lieselotte. 4 very different shows of varying qualities. What do you think of them? Let me know in the comments and join me next time for more. Until then, bye bye.